Good morning, everyone. Thank you for finding the time to join us today. My name is Rinske Lichtendaal and I'm the moderator of today's webinar. Today we host the webinar Get Google for Jobs Ready. So first things first, there are a couple of things I would like to share with you regarding the house rules of today. As a participant, you are muted, which means we cannot hear you. However, when you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them by using the chat box in the panel on the right side. At the end of the webinar, we'll try our ultimate best to answer all your questions. But in the case you run out of time, you will receive the answers on the remaining questions in your mailbox. And lastly, this webinar will be recorded and you will receive the recording in your mailbox too. So, as I said, my name is Rinske Lichtendaal and I'm the Marketing Executive at Vonk. Our Google for Jobs expert and also speaker of today is Sanne van Poortvliet, and she will now introduce herself to you too.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sanne, and as a campaign manager and SEO specialist at Vonk, my main goal is to help our customers write quality job descriptions and help them understand their target audience. I help our customers out through the means of campaign management calls, where I provide strategic advice in job marketing campaigns. Through workshops, I also write blogs, and now also I do webinars.
Okay, thank you, Sanne. Well, for those who don't know Vonk yet, Vonk is an international smart recruitment marketing agency that helps companies recruit better and in a smarter way. We do that with the use of performance data, technology, and marketing knowledge. Today, we have a great team with over 110 people with more than 20 different nationalities. We have 4 offices around Europe, with 2 in the Netherlands, 1 in Germany, and 1 in the UK. Until now, we generated more than 1 million applicants for our customers by using smart recruitment marketing. And now I'd like to give the floor to a speaker of today, Sanne.
Thank you, Rinske. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, the goal of this webinar is to help you understand Google for Jobs and make a start in preparing your job descriptions for when it's rolled out in the Netherlands or other European countries. Before we have a look at our agenda, I would like to address a few things. And first of all, that our webinar is focused on practical tips to optimize and prepare your job descriptions. But job descriptions are, of course, a part of the bigger picture of the whole recruitment process or the candidate journey. So it's also important to have an efficient application process, a good and SEO career site that can be crawled and indexed by Google, all to have the best results. The second thing is that we don't know when Google for Jobs will be rolled out in the Netherlands or any other European country, or what they have in mind for the future. Of course, you can take the insights of this webinar serious, but it's important to remain up to date and also flexible in your preparations. So now we have addressed that, let's have a look at our agenda. First, we will have a look at Google for Jobs itself and deep dive into the essentials. What is it actually? What's important to know? And why did it actually get introduced? Also, we will share the possible positive impact. And then, of course, the part you all came for, some practical tips. What can you actually do to get prepared? And we have prepared 3 practical tips to get you started on your job descriptions. These are categorized in structured data, content, and SEO. After the webinar, Rinske will summarize it in the key takeaways, and then we have the possibility to answer some questions. Why should you actually prepare now? I can hear you think, well, since we don't know when it will be enrolled, I will see it when it gets here, but there are actually many benefits of starting early. And with the first and perhaps obvious reason, once Google for Jobs is active, it's a little too late to make a good start. Also, our tips will not just help you prepare for Google for Jobs, they will also help you to improve your job descriptions in general. And good job descriptions attract better candidates, but also rank higher in the organic search results. And good job descriptions, good career pages, are also benefits for your SEA efforts, as it will enhance the quality score, which may lead to lower CPCs or lower costs. So let's have a look at Google for Jobs and start with the basics and essentials of this new feature. So Google for Jobs is an improved search feature to find your desired job with more ease and within the Google search experience. It provides an overview of job offers that are gathered from different sources, and you can refine your job search by using filters, compare jobs, and review the several results. But let's have a look at the countries first, because the Google for Jobs, the new job search, has already been rolled out in the States in 2017. Last year, it was launched in more parts of the world, like Latin America, India, and Canada. And last July, it made a jump to Europe and went live in the UK and Spain. And actually, recently, it has also been rolled out now in Germany. So I think the question is rather when than if Google for Jobs will go live in the Netherlands or other European countries. So as I said, this is what you need to know. It's an improved search feature that helps job seekers find their new ideal job with more ease and fully within the Google experience. What does it look like? Well, it looks like an overview with job offers, and these job offers are gathered from different sources. Within this overview, you can refine your job search using filters, compare the jobs, review the several results, and only when you hit the apply button, you will leave Google for Jobs and will be directed to the site where the job was originally published or found, which could be the job detail page. We dove in Google in the United States to provide you with an example of what it looks like. So as you can see, and as mentioned, it's based on organic and free search results. So you will find this overview on the first search result page below the paid search. So that's the ads that you can see, for example, in this image. But it will be mentioned above the first organic search results. So if you're curious, have a look yourself and go to Google US. Why is it actually introduced? Well, if we look at Google's mission, it's to provide you with relevant information. This and user experience are high on their priority list. And if we look at the current job search on Google, it was actually concluded not to be ideal. Why not? Well, first of all, every company writes their job descriptions in their own way, in their own order, using their own tone of voice, their own terminology. There is actually no such thing as a general job text template, which, if you ask me, is good, but it makes finding your dream job less easy. And it's also not as easy for Google to analyze all these job descriptions. And the same goes for the job titles, because there are plenty of synonyms for various job titles, and every company names their job opening as they think is described best. And the final reason is that your dream job is not my dream job. We all have different desires, and therefore we also carry out job searches in a different way, based on what we find important in our new job. So, time for a change and make this search easier is what Google might have thought, because to quote the product manager for Google Search, the aim is to increase the efficiency of job matching. Let's have a look at the possible impact of this new feature, because what could actually change? Well, as we mentioned, Google for Jobs will collect the jobs from several sources and show them to the user in a clear overview above the organic search results on the first page of the search results. So since Google for Jobs is not implemented in all countries and is relatively new, the impact is not fully clear yet, but we might be able to make a few assumptions on what the impact could be on the traffic to your career page and the application rate. In order to give you an answer to these questions, it's important to have a look at the current user flow or the current candidate journey, because this is what will change. If we look at the original or current job search, you would use the search engine to look for a job in your desired area and position. Google will show you the most relevant search results, and depending on your preferences, you would click on a job, go to the career page, view the job details, and you will keep repeating this process until you found a job that you actually want to apply for. You hit the apply button and then go to the application form. So what will change in in the new job search is that the Google for Jobs overview might be the first touch point of the potential candidate, and your job might be the job detail page in the overview by Google for Jobs. So this means that the whole process for the user of going back and forth between Google search results, the career pages, and the job boards actually remains in their own overview. So you look for a job, you view the job details in Google search experience, you use the filters, you compare the several jobs, and once you found your perfect job and hit the apply button, then you will be redirected to the source, which could be your job detail page. So if we can compare these two, you see a very big difference. And if we look at these user flows, a possible effect could be a change in the traffic that you receive and your application rate. Because the traffic to your career page, the page with all your job listings, could actually decrease because your jobs will be less visible in the search results page because they're being pushed down by this Google for Jobs overview. But if we look on the brighter side, the traffic to your job detail page could actually increase because this is where the potential candidates get redirected to after they click the apply button in Google for Jobs. So if you ask me, you can actually see this more as a redirect of traffic on different pages. And also we think that the traffic that you do receive is of better quality because they have a bigger chance of converting into an application. And why would we know this? Well, the job seeker has already viewed and read your job details in this Google for Jobs overview. And to get to your page, they have already hit the apply button. So since they show a big interest and motivation for your job, they are more likely to complete their application. Do you know what the best part is? You can actually be visible in this Google for Jobs overview too. And now we will go to the 3 practical tips that will help you get your spot in this new job search experience. So how do you actually get included? Well, as mentioned, the overview is based on the organic search results. So there are a few things that are essential to do and to prepare to have a bigger chance in getting the spot in the Google for Jobs overview. So these are the 3 practical tips that we think will help you with that. And that is by using structured data, focusing on the quality of the content in your job description, and also to have an SEO mindset. Let's have a look at the first practical tip, where you follow Google for Jobs guidelines with structured data. What is actually structured data? Well, Google actually does not always know what they're looking at. So sometimes they need your help, and you can help the search engine understand that it's not just content, but it's actually a job description. And you can do that by using structured data. Structured data is a standardized format or a code that you can add to your job listing page that helps Google classify or categorize your content. In this case, job descriptions. Maybe it sounds a bit futuristic or too difficult, but I'm sure you have seen it because structured data is also used for showing you in a better and efficient way address information, prices, reviews, or maybe you remember the last time when you looked up on how to bake chocolate chip cookies, for example, and Google showed you a recipe. That's because these pages used structured data to tell the search engine what they were actually looking at in order to show it to you in a better and efficient way. And you can help Google understand your content in a language they understand, which is schema.org. And this is actually an example of what a markup could look like. If you're interested, I've added 2 different links where you can have a look at the different markups that schema.org used. And if you think this all looks too technical, I don't have any idea what to do with it, join forces with your IT department or the person or organization that's responsible for your career page, because they will know what to do. What we actually tell you with this tip is that it's not just sufficient to only state all the important information in your job description itself. You need to help Google understand the content of your job description by using structured data on your page. Because if you don't, Google actually has this checklist of all the aspects that need to be in there for them to make sure this is a job description and these are all the parts that we think are necessary to be in our overview. So they set up a few guidelines or structured data that must be met to be included in the overview. Those are the job title, the company name, the location, the address, date of your job posting, and the salary. So these are the bare essentials that need to be in your job description and in the structured data to be included in the Google for Jobs overview. And yeah, let's take a moment for the salary, because it's a very important part of the job description. And unfortunately, it's an aspect that is currently still missing in many job descriptions and also for many diverse reasons. But as candidates find salary an important factor in their job hunt, so does Google for Jobs. If you do not post it in your job, Google for Jobs will actually do this for you. They will research similar jobs, generate a range that is realistic, and then post it. So, if I can make a suggestion, include it yourself and try to be specific, because describing the salary as competitive will not be good enough. Let's get to the second tip, which is about content. And in this case, without looking at Google for Jobs, your job description should actually always be attractive for your target audience, trigger their attention, and stand out from competitors. So this is what I meant with preparing at one of the first slides. Your main focus should not just be to be visible in the overview of Google for Jobs. It should always be on attracting your ideal candidate. So what can you actually do with regards to this tip? Well, you should keep a few things in mind while you're writing your job description. And first of all is that you need to create an interesting introduction, because this is really essential to catch the attention of your target group. And it is not just the start of your job description, but in Google for Jobs, it will be the first and only part of your job that is visible in the overview, as only the first few lines are shown. And this is not new actually, because many job boards do the same. They only show the first few lines, and a candidate or job seeker has to click on it in order to view the whole job description. So it's very important to write an appealing introduction to make your job opening stand out from the crowd, and make sure that your potential candidate clicks on the job to read the full details. This actually brings me to the second bullet, and that is, once you caught the attention of your target group, make sure that they are able to read your full job description. And you don't want them to drop out without having read the full text or not being able to scan or filter the most important parts. So make it legible by using subheadings, use bullet points, but also make sure that you highlight interesting USPs of the job or your organization that are matching with the needs of your candidate. And let me give you an extra tip, because if you have difficulties in writing an attractive job description for your target audience, it really helps to create a persona. This is what I also do in my campaign management calls, where we get stuck on the results, or we don't know why we do not get the right people to apply for the position. I always ask the person I'm talking to try to imagine the ideal candidate as an actual person. Try to vividly imagine what they're like, who they are, what their needs and interests might be. Because once you know who you're exactly looking for and what they might like or need in their new job, it's a lot easier to write your job description. And this is a model that we actually use a lot within Vonk, and it's the AIDA model, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. And we think that this model helps you bring a natural and logical flow to your job description. So grab the attention with an interesting introduction, as I mentioned before. Keep the attention of your candidate going, not just by using headings and bullet points, but also by going into their interests. Get them excited for your job and motivate them to apply. This actually already brings us to our third and final tip, which is about SEO. Using structured data and focusing on the content of your job description are all coherent with search engine optimization, or in short, SEO. With SEO, you try to get inside the mind of your target audience to understand the needs that they have, and also to get to know what important keywords are that they might use in their job search. So how can you use this in writing your job description? Well, first of all, use a good and relevant job title. Yes, we did mention to stand out with your job description, but don't do it by using job titles like marketing magician, analytics ninja, data hero. It all sounds very interesting, but it's actually better to use the job title that gives a clear idea about what the job entails, what skills or years of experience you need to bring to the table. And if you're not using it yet, Google Trends is actually a great tool that I advise, I think, on daily basis, because it can help you research if the job title that you have in mind is actually also used in queries. And the tool also lets you compare the different job titles to make sure you choose the right title for your job description. If we go to the second bullet point, use synonyms and relevant keywords, because when you found the right job title, it's ill advised to mention it in every heading or every sentence. You might all think, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Trust me, I still see it on daily basis. Because if you do this, it makes your job description less easy and less appealing to read. And not just that, Google will actually punish you for this so-called keyword stuffing. So rather try to find some synonyms for your job title, add a few relevant keywords, and in this way, improve the chance to be found by your ideal candidate. And to give you some extra information, Google is actually educating themselves on recognizing different job titles and their synonyms by so-called machine learning. Remember what I told you about that every company uses a different job title? Well, this is why it's important to use the right synonyms, so it can still be shown to the job seeker who might use a different job title in their job search for actually the same position. I hope these three tips will help you prepare for the new Google for Jobs search experience. And Rinske actually wants to summarize the whole webinar.
Thank you, Sanne. So let's do a short recap of what we have learned today. So Google for Jobs is a new search feature that could improve the job search of candidates and therefore also the candidate journey. And this job search experience can have an impact on traffic and also on the application rate. And that's why it's important to prepare your job descriptions in a proper way. And last but not least, by using structured data, writing good content, and having an SEO mindset, you can make sure to be included in Google for Jobs as well. So let's move on to the Q&A of this webinar.
Yeah, as mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, we will try to answer as many questions as possible. If I'm not mistaken, you also have the possibility to answer or to send in a few questions. Until that time, we will use this time to already look at the questions that we have received while signing up. When we looked at the questions that were sent in when signing up for this webinar, we saw that many were about actually getting to know more about Google for Jobs. So I hope we were able to give you better insights about the essentials and what you need to do to prepare. What we also mentioned is that we got a few questions that are about SEO itself. Even though Google for Jobs has a lot to do with SEO, SEO itself is actually different and a much broader topic. So for this webinar, we would like to remain focused on Google for Jobs, but we will take your questions in consideration to present perhaps a next webinar about SEO. Other questions that we got were, will Google for Jobs actually be a paid feature? Well, I'm not sure if Google themselves actually know how to answer this, but I think for now they are focusing on organic search results. They are learning about job descriptions and job titles and providing their users with a better and more efficient search experience. But of course, we cannot rule out the possibility that in the future it will be a paid feature. Also, we got the question, when will Google for Jobs come to the Netherlands? Well, as mentioned, we do not know. And I think only Google knows when and where they will roll out this new feature. But since a couple of days, Google for Jobs has been launched in Germany. So I think it's safe to say that we can expect it in the Netherlands or any other European countries very soon. Let's see, we got a question as well. Is it a good idea to put junior or senior in the job title? I would definitely say so, because it can give the candidate a very good idea about the entry level of this position. If you do so, please also make sure that you show in your job description itself why it is a junior or senior position. So make sure your job description will be a full and uniform profile, where in your main tasks and the requirements, but also the offer, it shows that it is meant for a junior or senior candidate for this position. Thank you for your question. Very interesting question. So please keep going. Another question that we got as well is about the negative effects of Google for Jobs. I think we just need to wait and see what will actually happen when this new feature is introduced in your country. But I think it's good to be well prepared for any type of effect or scenario. So as far as I can see now, I would not foresee a negative effect on job boards or Google as a search engine, because many people use the search engine as a first step in their search for a job. The negative effect that I can think of now is that your career page or job will be less visible in the search results, as it will be pushed down by the Google for Jobs overview. So this would mean that if you're not doing it yet, you would need to take action or prepare your job descriptions and pages to be included in this overview. In this case, the negative effect would be extra work in your SEO strategy. We also received a question if you received the presentation at the end of the webinar, and I think it's recorded, so you also get not just the webinar, but indeed the slides themselves. We also got another question that asked, will it be possible to place sponsored jobs on Google for Jobs? It's a good question. I think in the near future it could be a possibility, but I think that at the moment Google for Jobs is only based on organic search results, and they want to learn about job titles, about job descriptions, providing their users with an efficient search. So I think for now that will be their main focus, but I think we just have to wait and see if they have the possibility to place sponsored jobs. I cannot rule out that it won't be possible. Let's see. Another question we got was about use of keywords in job descriptions, the do's and don'ts. I think we already covered this answer, but to provide you with a short recap, use relevant keywords, not just the one that you think are relevant, but do research and try to see what your target audience uses, and also use synonyms. Give them a good visible spot in your job description, for example, by putting them in subheadings. Don't use the keywords too many times to avoid this punishment for keyword stuffing. Use your job title maybe 2 or 3 times max. Use a synonym for the job title and add a few relevant keywords. But always keep your focus on readability and your target audience. We also got a question about the use of structured data, what it is and how to use it. I hope we covered this question as well. By using markups from schema.org, you can help Google understand that's a job description, how to analyze it, and to put it in their overview. Get in touch with the team or department or organization that's responsible for your career page to find out what structured data will mean for you and how it should be implemented. I think, let me see if there are other questions. Will it be possible to make a connection between Google Analytics and Google for Jobs to analyze your traffic? Good question. I think that would be very interesting to see. But I don't think that we have an answer to that yet. I think for now it's a good idea to keep an eye out on the organic search results in your Google Analytics. But I think in time when Google for Jobs is rolled out, I think then we are able to see and analyze more for ourselves.
Okay, thank you, Sanne. Well, that was the last question of today. As I mentioned before, you will receive the recording and slides of this webinar in your mailbox later on. So for now, I would like to thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us today. Of course, when you have any other questions about Google for Jobs or about any other recruitment challenge you may have, feel free to contact us. And yeah, thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you and bye-bye.